Morning, guys. I thought I would do a quick video. Like I said, I was just gonna do a couple um, moving ones, like I usually do. But I've been doing my taxes, and the triggers just keep coming. The abuse continues here. Like I said, I've had no heat. I'm not gonna use that video for this, but the harassment continues, and it's pretty bad. And the symptoms are pretty bad. But someone mentioned, one of the girls I follow, she was doing her taxes, so I don't feel so bad. I've been procrastinating. I was told I'm lazing around, but when you're being abused like this, it's very difficult. Oh, shout out to the Schenectady police after laughing in my face. That poor little girl was just murdered by her father, tortured, starved, and naked in a room for 5 years. So, hey, congratulations that you want to laugh in my face about the work I'm doing here and about all the abuse at the YWCA, but I won't use this video for that. So after 5 years homeless, I was given $10,000 a year. Given is the operative word because I had a career. So they had this down to the last dollar. And then I have cops kicking in my door doing wellness checks, want to ask me how many quarters are in a dollar. This is the kind of insane abuse that's going in around in our communities. They'll kick in my doors all the time and accuse me of being mentally ill. But this man can starve, torture, and kill his little daughter in a room. He had the other child in a cage. He's admitted to mental health issues, and he bought a copious amounts of cocaine. Yeah, yeah, a lot to parse there in Schenectady with my neighbors up on the lake, but I'll leave it there because I don't feel too well today. So after 5 years after being thrown on the street by Judge Lorman in Amsterdam, I lived on $10,000 a year. Supposedly that was alimony. It was actually an inheritance from one of his cousins. So he used that to pay me $10,000 a year. I shouldn't even got alimony. I had a career. I had assets. I should have got my 50-50 share. So after that, I'm living now. Last year, my expenses, I paid almost $13,000 here, and that's just the rent with no heat. And suffered this kind of hellish abuse, which I would liken to arson, but I won't use this video for that. So I lived on about $25,000 this past year. So the little bit of settlement I got, if you want to call that, it was more like they signed the papers. I never even signed the Doris basement papers because it was so horrible what they did to me. I got about, a few years to live on that in one of these kinds of places where you're tortured. And then I have to try to get my Social Security, possibly, because of course I'm just the starter wife. So I can't probably get the little bit of higher, which would probably be a couple $100. My ex-husband made hardly no money. He made about $30,000 a year. You can't even take care of a pet on that. So all said and done, by the time I get to be 65, I will just be living on probably, I don't even know, $800 a month. So this is what they do to you after all the assets I had in a career. So I haven't worked in a decade, and these people keep telling the cops I laze around, I'm mentally ill. This is what they're doing here while this little girl's biological father was torturing her in a room in Schenectady. I wonder how many wellness checks that man had, because obviously he's admitting to having severe mental health issues. I don't know if he does. Who knows? Who knows when you have this kind of law enforcement going around attacking, sexually assaulting, and attacking repeatedly women that are just trying to go through a divorce, and then not even acknowledge this kind of economic abuse. So I sat down to do my taxes. It was pretty triggering. So this is what you have to face with economic abuse. And then to tell you you're a prostitute. Yes, repeatedly try to force you into prostitution, which isn't going to be, that difficult when you do this to someone. So in a few years, probably about 3, because they have it down to the last hour. I'm sure my ex-husband and all his friends are up there laughing on the lake about cops banging down my door and asking me how many quarters are in a dollar after they've deposited every asset and all kinds of money into his account. I'm sure that's pretty funny to all of you today, isn't it? To not kick in my door and ask me how, because they'll do these wellness checks and they can ask you how many quarters are in a dollar. So this is the kind of hell women face. And then they get these thugs in this building to harass you all day and all night. So I've had no sleep here, no heat, and this constant, whatever the games are with this heat is pretty, I would liken it to arson, actually. And that poor young woman around the corner shouldn't have been living in a death trap. None of us should. because that's what goes on here with this constant kind of abuse, and the fact that you can't get another apartment. I just went with the 3 times or 4 times your income. You're supposed to be making $40 an hour up to $70,000 now, because the rentals are up to 1,500 and they want to raise them more. So I should be making close to 70,000 to afford some of these just basic apartments. So this is what goes on in Amsterdam. This is what they do to you after having a career, a new car, owning rentals, owning your own home, owning vacation probably, a little dog, so on and so forth. Other stuff, because they're out here abusing dogs all the time. They think that's funny, the constant barking outside my window and the other stuff they do, like it's some sort of Gestapo here. Yeah, fun times, guys. I'm sure you're up there laughing and joking. Him with his relatives that are cops, his friends that are cops, the police chief. How funny it is to ask me how many quarters are in a dollar. Y'all are so funny. Why don't you go to that little girl's funeral today? Because I was told, oh, none of this goes on. None of it goes on, does it? Yeah, it's all a big joke, because if you advocate for children and you try to raise awareness and you try to tell the truth of what happened to you, this is the way you're treated. So be safe out there, guys, because it's really hellish what these people continue to do with immunity. And I'm just not picking on police officers. I'm picking on the systems in place in Amsterdam that would allow this to go on continuously and make a big joke about this, like it's entertainment. So that's what I'm doing today, trying to do my taxes in the midst of this ongoing abuse, pack and try to drag my stuff to another place so I can be safe. Because this is what's funny too. Every year I'll be moving, trying to find safety or trying to find a place where I can live. Let alone forget about working now, forget about all the other stuff that I have, because these people destroy everything within inches of your life. And that almost happened a couple times, like poor Claude in Amsterdam that froze to death at the bus stop. And now this little girl. So yeah, you guys are doing a great job in Amsterdam. Really stellar work. Be safe out there, guys.